What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of SUAVV Sessions. As you know, I am Rashad, and today's guest on the show is Miss Kandi Burruss Tucker. We know Kandi from the 90s hit girl group Xscape, which has given us some of the biggest soundtracks of our lifetime, as well as Kandi being a dope writer, which has written songs that have also become a part of those soundtracks. Kandi is also right now producing a hit Broadway show called The Thoughts of a Colored Man. It's a show that has seven black male actors on a stage, which has never happened before, and then having a black production team behind it, which is also a Broadway first. Being on Broadway with a predominantly black production team doesn't happen. Broadway is somewhere where the powers that be are typically white people. So for Kandi and the team to put together this show and have it out in the masses and on Broadway is a big deal. So I wanted to talk to her about that, why she felt that it was important to get involved with the project, and what she wants everyone to take away from it. In the same breath, I wanted to talk to Kandi about her music career and how she went from being a junior in high school and having a #1 hit record on the radio, growing into this phenomenon in the music industry who has written for just about everybody you can think of. Kandi is a groundbreaking black woman, and it's important to showcase that. So in the words of Kandi, kick off your shoes and relax your feet. You are now tuned in to SUAVV Sessions with Kandi Burruss Tucker. You know what you got to do is it's easy to be said before we get started. Make sure you like the video, make sure you're subscribing to our channel, make sure you're sharing, make sure you're commenting, make sure you're bringing this interview to the people that you know are going to enjoy it. All right, so with that said, let's get to it.
It was like my dream. Like, I used to pray every single day that God would give my group a record deal and a hit single before I graduated from high school. That was like my prayer every single day. And it just so happened that it turned out that way. You know, we got our record deals when I was in junior. And then right before my senior year, our single drop, Just Kicking It, came out, and it went #1. So I came into my senior year with a hit record.
Which is crazy.
It was crazy for sure. It was crazy. But at the same time, Atlanta was changing at that moment. You know, you already had Crisscross to do that thing. You already had TLC to do their thing. And at the same time of our success, you know, Outkast had started being successful like around a little bit after us, or right around that time. They also went to my same school. They just had Big Boy had graduated the year before me. So, you know, it was a performing arts school. Everybody that went off and became successful after that they weren't necessarily in the performing arts program, but it was a performing arts school. So like everybody, it was a large portion of the school who had dreams of doing what we were doing. So it was almost like for a lot of the people that came up after me at that same school, Tri-Cities High School of Visual and Performing Arts, it kind of gave all of them that thing, like, well, if they did it, we can do it too, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I got a lot of support from like my teachers and everything, so that I still continue to go to school on my days off from touring. So I was going to school like everybody else, turning in my work like everybody else. I just had a record on the radio.
Yeah, and that's gonna be my question. Did you find it easier to get into the industry and into the lifestyle because there were so many of you that had the same dreams and you could actually like bounce things off of each other? Like, did you feel that support helped you out through that?
Well, I don't necessarily think, we bounced it off of each other. Like, it's not like I was going around and talking to other artists that, had already accomplished it or whatever. I mean, the only other person we had to really talk to was, I guess, Jermaine. But I mean, I guess, I came into this in a group. So, you're not doing it by yourself. It's like you coming into it with a team almost, like you guys are. You know, we all are trying to make it together type of situation. So, but I had like a lot of support from my family and close friends. So I don't know. I was kind of like a lot more mature for my age too, I think. So, I mean, I guess it all worked out.
Become successful in your music career. You start writing. Were you writing before you got into the group, or did you like really develop your writing after your first big album hit?
Well, when I was younger, I always used to try to write songs. Yes. You know, I would write I had like a little notepad that I was writing, you know, different ideas in, and I was coming up with stuff. Our old manager, Ian Burke, who helped us in the beginning, he would introduce me to like, or take me to, you know, like different producers and stuff so I can like, you know, work on my ideas. So I remember it was one guy, he actually went to high school with my brother. His name was Chris. So he was like a friend that I knew from the neighborhood, but he was just older than me. And his production partner, his name was William. I used to go to their house and work on melody, you know, they would just have me sing different melodies to tracks all day long. And at first I didn't really know, like, how is that helping if I'm not just coming up with the song? And they was just like, no, you got dope melodies. This is part of it. Like, you need to just, you know, keep coming up with different stuff. And I think doing that was helping me hone my craft. But I know we used to always ask Jermaine, they're like, oh, let us write, you know. He would let us write a little bit here and there, but it wasn't anything like what I started doing after the group, you know what I mean? It was more so we would get a couple of lines here, maybe he let us do a verse there, but it wasn't like we came up with the concept or the whole song from scratch, you know what I mean? Right. So that's how it was in the beginning. And then I remember when me and the group, when we started falling apart, so that was like after the second album, you know, we really started having some serious issues or whatever. You know, that's when we knew one of our group members that she was going to end up going solo after the third album. So I was telling Tiny, I was like, yo, we got to figure out what we're going to do. You know what I mean? Like, we can't just be sitting around here falling off, because we know that, you know, the group is going to be on a hiatus when Tasha does her solo project. Right. So I told Tiny, I was like, yo, how about we work on our own project, like do a duo situation. And so that's when she and I started working, and I was telling her, like, yo, we got to write, you know, let's go ahead and write, you know, most of the demos and stuff, so that when we take it to the label or take it whoever we're going to try to get to sign us, we can show them that we have a direction, we can write our own stuff, you know what I mean? So that's when we had did No Scrubs for ourselves. And, you know, that song just really just opened the doorway for me to do other things, because it ended up, you know, L.A. Reid heard the song, he went to use it for TLC. And from that moment, you know, I started getting a lot more opportunities from that. You know, other people was like, oh, okay, you can write. Okay, well, come do this, do that, you know. So it was just, it was a blessing that it worked out in that way.
That's dope. And a lot of people don't know, like, the writing side is where, like, a lot of the money's at, like the writing and the publishing.
Listen, I didn't know at first either. Like, to be honest, I knew, because I don't know, maybe I'm a control freak. I didn't know that then, but I guess I've learned that a little bit as I got older, that I like to be in control of the situation. So, you know, I knew I wanted to create, because I just felt like, you know, I knew I could do it, and I knew I was, you know, had dope ideas. I just didn't know how to make it happen at first. But it was more so about the creativity for me and coming up with the songs. I did not know how much money was behind it until after I started having my own hits and started seeing them check. Because if I had known, I would have pushed the point more for us to be writing on our albums. You know what I mean? Like, that one line, 2 lines here, there wouldn't have got it if I would have known how, you know, how much The publishing would have been worse because, you know, before, you know, we was only getting like, 5% here, you know, little percentages, you know. But it was like when I really started writing the whole song and I'm getting 50% here, or if I do a collab, I'm getting 35, or, you know, whatever it is. I'm getting big chunks. More than 5. Yeah, I was getting big chunks of the record. So I was like, wait, hold on now. I didn't know this was like this, you know. So it was a whole blessing. Like I literally, you know, made more money as a writer than I did with my group with 3 platinum albums. You know, like we had 3 platinum albums and multiple platinum and gold singles or whatever. So it's just like, you know, I thought, you know, we was doing well. I knew we wasn't making as much money as we should have been making, but I never knew that I could just go on and do my own thing as a writer and really be killing it, you know? Yeah,
it's insane. It's insane, but they're learning. They're learning the industry a little bit better.
Yeah.
So to the play, you're starting to be seen more in like acting and theatrics and things like that. Are you pushing your career in that direction?
I have to say, yeah, I'm definitely pushing to do more of that. Like, I'm not saying that I want to do more of that to not do the other stuff that I've done in the past. It's just that I just want to broaden my horizons. Mainly, the thing is for me, you remember when I told you I went to performing arts school? I went to performing arts school for drama and theater. So a lot of people thought I went to the performing arts school for the music. I did not. I met my group members at that school and we started singing together, but that had nothing to do with the music program at the school. You get what I'm saying? I was there for theater, drama, and then I also was in the Youth Ensemble of Atlanta, which was a musical theater company. So a lot of my friends were like shocked that I became so like more about music coming out of school, because a lot of them was like, oh, I thought you would have been, you know, become famous as, you know, an actress or whatever, because that's what I was, you know, doing so much of in class and in school or whatever. So anyway, as time went on and as I got older, I was just like, why have I not pursued my dream of acting, you know? And so I, at that point, which was like, I guess maybe 6 years ago, maybe, I had decided that I wanted to get a new agent, somebody who was going to help me go after it like I wanted to, and that's what I did. And I have to say much love to my agent, Nick Roses, because from that point, when we really got focused on me doing auditions and doing all that stuff, because I wasn't doing that before. I was only, you know, taking meetings as a producer or pitching ideas from behind the scenes stuff. So when we started really focusing on that, I ended up, you know, getting a couple opportunities. Actually, I did get picked for a role prior from a different show. But, you know, things didn't work out. And so it wasn't until I ended up doing a Shy that people really saw, like, oh, okay, it's like she acts for real.
Because you wouldn't think that was your first passion when it came to the arts. Like, you would think that it was music just because we think we know you.
Right.
So you've done Broadway, you've done your play, and now you're executive producing on Broadway with an amazing play, which I haven't seen snippets. I've like read through a lot of the reviews of it and watched some other interviews. The timeliness of the conversation is impeccable. What made you want to get on board with this?
Well, once again, my agent told me about the project. He knew that I wanted to come back to Broadway and do another situation with Broadway. I didn't know if I was going to be acting, whatever. I just kept telling him, I need to go back to Broadway because I feel like you ain't really did it unless you done it twice. You know, my first opportunity was when I was, that's how I feel, like in anything. I'm like, you ain't really did it unless you did it 2 times. So, I like that. You know, I was Mama Morton in Chicago a few years ago. So after that, you know, I was like, well, I would love to come back for something else later. But then this year, he hit me and he was like, yo, it might be an opportunity for you to be a producer on this project. You know, he was setting up meetings for me to talk to the one of the other producers and the writer of the project and the director. And, you know, after, you know, finding out what the project and the whole show, the play was about, I was like, I most definitely want to be a part of this. And for more reasons than one. One, I mean, to start with, Keenan Scott II, he wrote an amazing piece. The show is great, okay? But on top of that, he's a first-time Black writer to have, you know, his show on Broadway, which is major for, you know, what we're doing. We have a Black director, and then we have an all-Black producing team, you know. Well, a majority Black. We have one, you know, other person who's not Black on the team. But the thing about it is, it's historic. Broadway has been known for years as the Great White Way. You know, that's what they used to call it or whatever. And on top of that, you know, they did start having some diversity as far as like talent in some of the shows, you know, having Black stars. That started happening a little bit before the pandemic, whatever, a few years back. But, you know, this is the first time in history that Broadway has ever shut down during the pandemic. So when it came back, it was important that it came back with a show like this that had not only the first time 7 Black men has ever been able to star in a show on Broadway, but secondly, you know, then you have all these Black people behind the scenes that's making it happen.
And I think that's what makes it amazing. The fact that when I moved to Atlanta, I moved to Atlanta from LA by way of New York. So I kind of like went like this and came back around up in the sea. Everywhere that I live, there's been successful Black people, but it's not to the level that you see it when you get in Atlanta. Like here, it's like everything is Black. Like your doctors, your architects, your like construction companies, like the airlines, like everything is Black here. And it's almost mind blowing because you don't see that anywhere else. So even as an adult coming in here, it was culture shock to see real successful Black people in real like Tuxedo Park neighborhoods, like living in mansions that are theirs. Like it's shocking. And I think like when people understand that level of Black excellence doesn't get a chance on Broadway, for you guys to be doing that and showing that this is the level of production that can be done, give us a chance. Like, I think it's amazing.
Well,
I think it's gonna blow some people's minds the same way Atlanta's messed me up a little bit.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, everybody that I know that's not from Atlanta says the same thing that you're saying. I know Todd, when he first got there, he said, he was just like, I have never seen this many Black people in my life. Because of the fact that, you know, it's Black people from all walks of life, but it is a city where it's majority, you know, African-American city. They just recently said that we dropped to 49%. So if you can imagine, 49% of the city of Atlanta is Black. But you got to remember, we have the surrounding cities. So you got College Park, you got, you know, city of South Florida, all these different, Decatur, all those cities that really make up Metro Atlanta. And so all of those cities are Black.
No, it's Black outside that perimeter. You got that perimeter. It's real Black.
Exactly. So with that being said, that's pretty much what I've known my whole life growing up, seeing Black excellence, seeing Black people do well in life. And so it's never been a thing for me to where I didn't think it was possible. I always knew what was possible. Seeing other people, my mom used to drive me through neighborhoods, Black neighborhoods, that, you know, had lots of mansions and nice houses in them. And I used to just drive those neighborhoods, always be like, that's going to be my house when I grow up. No, and I used to do it all the time, like literally. Honestly, the neighborhood I live in now, I still live in an area that's mostly African American. Not to tell people where I live, you know what I'm saying?
We not telling folks where you live. We don't need no problems.
Yeah, but it's a gated community that I drove past when I was younger. To be like, ooh, I wonder what those houses look like in there. You know what I mean? And lots of big, huge, houses, all owned by Black African American people. So, it is wonderful to be able to know what can be done and continue to take it to the next level and take it to other places.
Yeah. So with it being a 7-male ensemble, like starring in this play, and everyone's telling their story from their point of view, not to try to get too personal in your life, but your loss of your brother, early age, loss of AJ at a relatively early age. Then you're able to remarry, or actually go and get married with Todd, and then you have Ace. How important was the narrative of the play for what you would want Ace to be able to see in the future?
I personally feel like it's extremely important, especially right now, for different images of what's been shown, different from what's been shown in the past through media, of Black men to come and for everybody to be able to appreciate it. Because for so long, for so many years, people have always tried to portray Black men as just negative images in the public eye, angry, aggressive, violent. Those are the images that they've shown of us so many, many years, especially of Black men, right? Last year, I think, as an entire country and the whole world, everybody stood up pretty much saying, like, we tired of it, okay? I think everybody thought about what they could do to make things better, right? And one thing that I always promoted or said whenever I have a conversation is, like, I feel like it's important that Black people are in positions of power and in positions of executive leadership to where we can help make some of these changes. In most industries, no matter what industry you're in, not just entertainment, not just, whatever business, most of the people that's running things, making decisions are always typically Caucasian. So I'm not saying that they are bad people or anything like that. What I am saying is, when they want to do the right thing and when they want to help, sometimes they don't know how to help. How can they make the right decisions for what should be seen in media, what should be seen, on your TV screens? When we complain about the TV shows we want to see, complain about the, whatever plays we want to see on Broadway or whatever. If we don't have any Black creators, any Black executives in these networks and power positions, how can we ever see those things see the light of day, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it was an important thing to help put together something that is seen in the light that we want to see it. So with Thoughts of a Colored Man, it's about 7 Black men who meet at a Brooklyn barbershop, but they're from all different walks of life, and they have all different experiences that they basically, create and show. So they really represent 7 different emotions. So you have one that's wisdom, one that's representing love, one represents passion, one represents anger, one represents lust. So it's like you have all these different, one represents depression. I know I'm leaving somebody out, but anyway, the whole point is they show you that there's so many different levels. And then it also addresses certain things that happen in the everyday life that you'd be like, oh, so that's why they feel like that. Or, if you're not Black, if we Black, we get it. But it's good to be able to see it play out on a stage, in your everyday life. And it's not just some old stuff. It's all about currently what's happening in today. Yeah.
I get it. It's
so funny. It is, even though it's about 7 Black men, there are things about the show and about the characters that relate to Black women as well. Because I know my daughter Riley was sitting in the audience and she was laughing because she was like, I see myself in some, one of the characters and what he was saying and talking about. The same thing with one of my other homegirls. She was laughing too because she was like, oh yeah, that's me. So it's like, it's great to see those stories being told in a relatable way and that we can see ourselves in it.
Yeah. When you talk about like how media depicts Black men as typically being like angry and negative and things like that, when your husband first came into Housewives series, I felt like that was trying to be pushed on him, and I felt you corrected a lot of it quickly.
You think
and,
so?
You corrected a lot of it. Like, we're not doing this. So it was a lot of you redirecting that image. Was that something that you saw happening, and was that something that you were worried about how they were going to try to portray him coming into the series?
I didn't think they didn't try to portray him as angry. I felt like they tried to portray him as a user, as a leech. I felt like that's what they tried to portray him as, which was absolutely incorrect. What a lot of people don't understand, like right now in this world, and then, on the other side of that coin, it was like, oh, you are a sugar mama, or you are this, or you are that. Now, the thing about it, Todd had already had his own success in life. He came into our relationship doing well for himself in production, producing TV shows or whatever, having his own background. And it was just kind of like messed up to me to say that, okay, because financially I may make more, then that discredits him in some way. What people have to understand is a lot of times, especially now, it's a proven fact, like there are a lot more Black women who have gone on to get college degrees and make more money than a lot of men, okay? Mm-hmm. Men in general, and unfortunately, some of our Black men, fall in this category where, they feel that, their wives or their girlfriends sometimes make more money than they do. But I don't think that should take anything away from a man and who he is to the relationship. You get what I'm saying? It's like, you can't expect, obviously there have been, like, I don't know, even in our own city of Atlanta, there are a lot of great opportunities, a lot of great programs that if you start doing your research, that benefit, people of color or whatever that we can get. They always talk about minorities are able to get certain, contracts or different things. Yeah. But as a Black woman, I am a double minority. And so sometimes that puts me a little bit ahead to be able to get more contracts, more this, more that. You get what I'm saying? Scholarships that are out there available that, Black women are able to, benefit. If we're out there doing our research and looking for these things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
With that being said, I think it's a wonderful thing that we as Black women are able to be successful, accomplish great things, do what we got to do. But at the same time, we're not trying to discredit our men. We still want you to be great. We want to be great. We don't have to dumb ourselves down. But at the same time, nobody should be able to tear down our Black men. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's just where I'm at with it.
Absolutely. Is there something specific you want someone to take away from the play that comes this year?
Oh my goodness. Yes. I think one of the things is that obviously stop judging a Black man before you even know his story. Stop judging him upon the first time you see him. One of the characters, especially in the show, you will totally get that from. It's like you see a person, whether he's in the grocery store working, you don't know what their situation is and what happened for them to be doing what they're doing or whatever. So please stop judging Black men. Stop judging Black people based off of the color of our skin and all of that. Is like it just gives you a little thought into the way we think, and a little bit more. No, I mean, the main thing that I want people to know is that I really, really, really would love for you all to support this show, Thoughts of a Colored Man. Get your tickets at thoughtsofacoloredman.com. And it's like, to me, it's not enough that we got this show on Broadway. People don't, a lot of times the reason or excuse that they give big companies, I'm saying, and investors use to not support Black projects is because they were like, oh, they're not going to sell. Oh, nobody's going to buy tickets for that, or whatever. So the only way that we can continue to see other opportunities like this happen for other African-American creators is if you support it, So I'm just asking that you guys support it, and then by buying tickets and coming to see the show. Buy a ticket for your friend if you already seen it. Whatever you got to do. If you don't think you're going to be in town, just get a ticket. I do that for movies, like Black movies that I love, that I
just buy one.
If I know, I just buy a ticket sometimes, go on Fandango, buy a ticket to it, because if I didn't have a chance to go see it, then I'll just buy a ticket to it, because that's still like just as good as I came. Not to say that I don't always get to spread the word about it from that angle, but at least I supported it in some way. So I just ask that everybody support. Please come see it, tell your friends, do all that good stuff.
Okay. Last question, and then we are wrapped. You have a lot going on. Like, your plate is a platter. It's full. How? Like, how?
How?
That's just how. Like, because it's one, for me, it's inspiring. It's literally, it's levels all the time. Like, there's something always coming up, and it's like, oh, this is Kandi. I'm like, damn. And then it's just, it's always something else coming up. Like, do you sleep? When do you sleep?
Not really. I don't sleep that much, to be honest with you. I average about 4 hours. And that's not a good thing. I'm not telling other people to do that.
No, I understand.
But I mean, I think it's even worse for me because I have children. So like, even I have, event during the day or at night, and I'm always up super, super late. But then I have to get up at the crack of dawn to get my kids ready for school and all of that. So it's like, I'm not sleeping. Like, I don't want to miss any opportunity, because I feel like people are quick to forget. And I always revert back to this, because my cousin always tells me, she doesn't always tell me, she said this to me one time. She was like, used to be's don't make no honey, so don't nobody care what you used to be. All right? So that stuck with me, because I was like, you know what, you're right. Because you always get around a used to be ass person. They be sitting like, oh, remember when I used to do this? Oh, you used to be hot. We used to be blah, 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 blah. Okay, so quickly you can become a used to be person. If you are not currently working on your next move, then it's like bye-bye. Because if you get too comfortable in whatever you hot in right now, or whatever you got popular for right now, like, so let's say, for instance, I get comfortable and everybody being excited about the play right now, which I'm very happy that we've gotten a lot of excitement and people are checking for it. But let's say in a few months, the first run lasts for some months. So after the first run, okay, what's next? That's the people always want to know what's next. So you have to constantly, while you're in your current success, be working on your next thing. You feel me? Or else you will fall off. It's just inevitable. So, or not that you will fall off, but you just will have a moment where nobody's checking for you and nobody's talking about nothing that you got going on, because they already seen that. It was good. What's next? That's what people think. So anyway.
There's a million people on the next list. And it's like, once you come off that list, you got to get back in line. And
exactly.
it might be too hard to get back in line. Like that.
Yes.
You got to milk it. That's why I was like, you got on Housewives, and like the businesses started popping up, and I was like, that's how you milk it. You make it work for you.
Right. Well, my intention on when I first started doing Housewives, I had already thought business, and I was doing well for myself. But I realized that the show actually made my life become even more visible to the world. I thought it really wasn't gonna do nothing for me, right? Because I was like, oh, okay, I've been in a group before. I had success before. I had no idea that being on this show would take my whatever I going on times 10. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I never cared about being popular, right? I felt like that first show, I was like, the money ain't matching this popularity that he's giving me. Like, I'm not really benefiting off of this. So I was like, I have to make sure that it's making sense for me, So I was like, okay, if you're gonna see like I use this with some other people. If I'm gonna let you in my business and you're gonna be all in my business, then it's gonna benefit my business. Because other than that, I'm pretty much really laid back and low key. I turn it up when I need to, if I have to work, if I have to host something, if I have to, whatever. But most of the time I'm real like laid back, like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Well, all my friends know that. So it's just like, if I had to allow people all of my business, it needs to benefit my business, and it needs to come in a timely fashion. The reason why I learned how to make things happen quicker and to be more urgency upon myself and upon my scene is because, say for instance, filming is only 6 months, right? Mm-hmm. But you get so many people on reality TV that be talking about what they want to do and how they got to do it, and you never see it. It never happens. Right. It never comes to fruition. So from the jump, I always told my team, I'm like, yo, anything that I say or mention on this show in filming, it better happen before we stop. Because at the end of the day, no, seriously.
That's real.
That's real. My reputation is important to me. I want you to know that I'm a person that I do what I say I'm gonna do. I'm dependable. I'm a Taurus. I'm dependable. If I said that I was gonna do it, it's good as done. I want you to feel that when you know me. You know what I mean? And so that is important, that I'm just not over here just talking on and you don't see nothing, So I was like, it definitely has to happen. It has to happen. And not just from the time you watching the show, because by the time you watch the show, it's already done. So it has to happen in filming, which only gives you 6 months at the most.
To make it happen.
Yeah, they at least give you something tangible from that, whatever you discuss.
I love it. Any regrets? Career, housewives, businesses.
Regrets. I feel
do you regret letting people into your business going on the show?
Well, it's like a give and take. I mean, I could not like that people are in my business, and I could not like some of the things that people say or the way people can drag me at times. But at the same time, I love the support of my fans. I love the platform. So it's I can't get one without the other. So with that being said, I just take the good with the bad. I take the bad with the good, or how it goes.
Yeah.
It's really it's no way that I could get the things that I love about it without accepting the things that I hate about it. So I just have learned to accept that this is just where my life is at this point, and I just rock with it, because or else it'll stress you out if you don't, you know what I mean? And I'm not about to be stressed and be worried about the bad negativity. The only thing that, it really, really boiled my blood, that whole situation when they tried to accuse me of the whole drugging situation. And it's so funny because a lot of people are why she care so much when they said something about being lesbian in a closet or some bullshit. I didn't care nothing about that. That didn't make me upset. What made me upset was the whole drugging allegation situation. Because I'm like, what? That is so far from who I am. And that just really, really bothered me. But it's nothing you can do about it, I guess.
That rubbed a bunch of us wrong because it's like, especially when you are a business owner, you understand that like that's reputation. And it's so hard to bounce back from like false allegations.
Right.
So it's like, even, regardless of whatever we got going on, why would you do that to me and try to ruin my life? Like,
Exactly.
That's how we saw it. And like the lies thing, like that's the meme of my groups. When somebody starts like the lies.